Hi, this is Amrita Sukumar, and I'm bringing to you this podcast called Unsettling. Look around you. Everyone is trying to create their own story. Make a tiny change in someone's life by just following their passion, and in turn, inspiring the others to follow suit. This podcast brings to you stories of people who have defied the definition of settled set by the society and have created their own. They have found happiness in their version of settled. What is yours? Communication has been a part of our lives since time immemorial, and graphic design is one such form of communication. To know more about graphic design and its function in our day-to-day lives, I would like to welcome my next guest, Yogesh Bhusare. Hi Yogesh, how are you?
Hi. All good, yeah. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm thriving, surviving.
Yeah, surviving.
Yes, I'm so glad you are surviving as well. So what are you currently
Yeah,
designing?
yeah. Currently, I'm just busy with my regular office work, not taking much freelance stuff right now,
Okay.
just because managing the team is the new task for me in lockdown. So that's the only thing I'm focusing on.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I saw you traveling to your old places. I saw you traveling
Yeah.
to the hostel, which you had
So
designed.
yeah, that's the weekend part I especially keep for my traveling stuff, because that's the only thing that helps me to work on other 5 days.
That is
So
true.
yeah.
I hope
Completely.
you're being safe though, considering the fact that Corona is still there.
Completely. Yeah, we normally take precautions while we travel. Take care of our health also. We carry much medical stuff around. So
Oh.
there's no such issue that happens probably.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So, Yogesh, coming to the main question, why did you choose graphic design?
Yeah. Just like every other student in arts, no?
Mhm.
I too dreamt of creating masterpieces in art. So that was the initial stage. I always wanted to be a part of creative field because that was only the option left in front of me from my school days.
Mhm.
As I was much more keen towards this field, because again that was the scoring part where I could have scored, because I was an average student when it comes to studies.
Okay.
So the only option left was to pick this as a career.
Mhm. So
I
that
didn't
is
start. Yeah. That's the only thing I choose: graphic designing or the creative field, I would say.
Oh, okay. Because, well, I also used to draw as a kid, but I don't think that I would have chosen graphic design because that is so much work. I've seen you
Yeah.
people sit and draw sheets after sheets. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's a part of process, but yeah, that's the thing. That's how I started.
Yogesh, so I would like to know, what is the role of a graphic designer?
Yeah, so design has always played an important role in society, I would suggest. So graphic design is again creating visual communications to convey a particular message, a particular thought in a creative way.
Mhm.
So particularly graphic designing is just a term that I would say in designing, that is just a level.
Okay.
So the basic role is to know our clients and their requirements, considering their budgets and giving creative solutions for the same. The process again consists of working with clients taking briefs, advising them with design styles, formats, print solutions, and these are all the technical terms that involved in a graphic design.
Mhm.
But the key thing is, I always consider the thing, whether it's a graphic, whether it's space designing is the core thing that you should know, whether
Right.
you are architect or whatever you are in this
Mhm.
creative field. So designing is the core. These are just the streams that you get. These are
Oh,
just the branches that you get. So
okay.
yeah, core is designing, but these are the technical aspects that I mentioned earlier.
Okay. So then, basically, if I'm a client, I come to you, I tell you that this is my brief,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
you interpret it according to the client's
Right.
requirements and psychology, and then give them a solution in whatever format.
Giving all the create. exactly, giving creative solution, following trends,
Right.
what are the design styles, giving all the creative solutions. That's the only process that we normally follow.
Oh, okay. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I did not know what graphic designing is. Mostly, I thought it's just logo design or, website design of sorts.
Yeah.
But
No, it's a completely different world, I would say. Ki after getting into this field, I
uh
have always I always wanted to be an illustrator,
right,
but after knowing ki this won't just help in your own skills, but
hmm?
you have to grow knowing each and every aspect of design.
Right.
So whether it's layout designing, whether it's advertising of print, whether it's designing hoardings, packaging,
My God.
these are various formats. Yeah, each and every aspect has to be covered after you have become like you have gained an experience of 5 to 6 years. You should know each and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a huge
It's a
dynamic field, I
huge
would say.
field. Yeah, it's a very
Yeah, yeah,
huge field. When you look
yeah.
at it
Even
as a layman, it seems very small. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Even while if we are connecting right now,
Hmm.
digital is completely based on design formats,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? From designing, although considering why Instagram changed its logo
Hmm. Hmm.
and went into minimal zone. It
Right.
was a lengthy process again, knowing people what they
Hmm.
want. So yeah, it's a huge study, and giving a solution based on that study is also a task. So
Okay.
yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, that's completely interesting. And anyway, I've seen a lot of your work. So, well,
Yeah.
it now I know what all you keep doing.
Yes,
Keep
yes,
going. It's quite interesting. Okay. So, how
yeah.
has your journey been so far? Was it interesting? What all have you done?
So yeah, definitely. It was full of ups and downs initially.
Uh-huh.
Uh, as I said, I haven't said actually, but I've studied at Diva Patil Pune.
Okay.
After graduating, I completed my BFA,
Hmm.
and after completing BFA, I got to know कि advertising. If you want to work in advertising,
Hmm.
you have no other option than getting work in Mumbai. Basically, you have
Okay.
to shift to Mumbai
Mhm.
because advertising right now also, if we have to check, there's no other city that has such a dynamic or the culture
Yes.
rather than Mumbai. So that was a big step, I would say. I was never keen to work in Mumbai, but as you have to always switch your career wise, you have to settle down at one particular city. So that was the first thing. My
Okay.
journey began with joining an event agency first. So, though it was not a design firm, it
Mhm.
gave me that creative freedom to experiment and find the space I'm looking forward to fit in.
Okay.
So, I experimented with styles, elements uh, in that agency. And after that, I was just going through other top agencies,
Mhm.
and I was always sending my folios to all the renowned people around on
Mm.
Facebook earlier. So
Okay.
that was the only platform I used to. And then Taproot happened. I joined Taproot, which is one of the leading advertising agency,
Uh-huh.
headed by Santosh Padi and
O-
Angela Dias. So
Okay.
that was like a boom in my career, working under such a huge renowned faces in advertising.
Mm.
uh, I got to learn numerous things in Taproot, while where I thought I was a nobody in the industry.
Mm.
That helped me to gain that confidence. Ki, I am working at Taproot, which is a big thing right now.
Yeah.
So that was one of the tag that I got. And after changing, I kept changing multiple agencies earlier. Ki
Mm.
pehle I joined event agency, then I joined advertising. I
Mm.
went into space designing. So that's the ups and downs. I was not sure कि मुझे क्या करना
करना
है
क्या है
exactly.
बेसिक हाँ हाँ हाँ
Exactly. I just wanted to try because, as I said, design ka aisa is there's no such one particular direction.
करेक्ट
So you have so many fields. I always wanted to try कि हाँ ये भी करेंगे वो भी करेंगे. Wherever I find कि things are interesting, I
राइट
just pitch in and try that thing. So वो process में I left many agencies, but now finally I'm working with one of the digital agencies in Mumbai, which is Sochias, as a creative head. So that's like a new beginning, I would say, in my career. And, managing 21, 24 designers under me is a
Oh.
new learning experience altogether. Yeah. So although it is, I would say, too early for me to manage this position, but if the opportunity was given to me by Socius, I took this very positively, and I'm still into that learning process right now to how to manage all these designer, how to manage work. So it's a
Okay.
fun process. Yeah.
And it was a dynamic journey for sure. I mean, the entire thing unfolded in front of my eyes. So finally, you're doing digital design,
Yeah. I'm
digital
completely now.
illustration.
That's the future
Yes.
of digital. Is the future of each and every, I would say, design
Mm.
or advertising field.
I
Everything
agree
is going
because
to
the
change.
entire world went on the internet when the
Yeah,
complete shutdown. So
completely.
I think
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can't
yeah.
avoid it.
Exactly. Yes.
So, what kind of projects have you worked till date, and which is your favorite?
Uh, to name a few, I've worked on numerous brands while working in advertising, like Times of India, Airtel, Setwet, Amazon Fashion, Amazon Prime Video. I'm working right now.
Okay.
Budweiser, I have worked when I was working at Leo Burnett,
Mm-hmm.
Flipkart, etc. And on my personal level, I have worked with. These are all the professional that I have named, but on personal level, I have worked with Zostel.
Right.
Again, I have worked on Audi recently. Last year, last May, I have worked with Audi
Okay.
in collaboration with Culture Shop. Was quite a big thing for me. Work was again working with such a huge brand was also one of the learning experience.
Hmm.
So working with Audi was one of my favorite projects that I have worked till date because firstly, as I mentioned, Audi has been the brand that everyone wants to work with.
Yeah.
Every designer would consider कि मुझे ये ऐसा brand पे काम अगर कभी life में मिले तो that will be a boom for my career growth.
Correct.
So that was the thing. Yeah. Working on such a brand, and secondly, it was being displayed in Mumbai while there was a launch of Audi Q8. So the concept revolved around design. So they selected 8 artists. Culture
Okay.
Shop selected 8 artists from
Mm-hmm.
India.
Mm-hmm.
They have given us a brief around it, and we have created 8 different styles. I created one particular style, and there were 8 different artists they have selected. So everyone has their own unique styles
Mm-hmm.
that they displayed during this launch. And lucky enough, we were so lucky enough that Virat Kohli was part of this
Oh,
launch.
wow.
Yeah. And that was like a surprise element for each of one who had participated, who had given their art piece.
Mm-hmm.
So even he visited, he have gone through our work. So yeah, it was one of the best thing I would say last year that happened to me because I always get inspired by his career growth,
Yeah.
and he was always been my idol, I would say, in other field. But yeah, I've always looked up the way he carry forwards each and every aspect.
Oh, wow. But
Yeah,
I would say personally, I like Zostel
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
because of the creativity that you all put in, including
E-
the maps and,
e-
the
exactly.
Jali design, beautiful.
Yeah,
And in digital, I
completely.
like your half-up series, which you've started
Half
recently.
half series.
Oh, that
Yes.
is amazing. The thought process behind that is really beautiful. So those two
Yeah.
are my personal favorites.
No, definitely. As a artist, I just feel the art is the only thing that you can donate. I would say for me,
Yeah.
it won't be money that I can donate, but if I'm able to spread awareness through my art,
Hmm.
so that's the reason I kept doing the half and half series and many other series that I have already worked earlier.
Yeah.
I always wanted कि social media अगर if we are given a free platform like Instagram
Hmm.
to create awareness, to create what we say, to spread message.
Yes. Yes.
So if we are able to create something unique, and if that is going to spread, that is going to get viral, so we should definitely try out these things if it's a social, if it's
That
for
is.
any cause. And it's also fun.
It is quite eye-catching, right? I mean, I really like the way you have portrayed a lot of things. That's really eye-opening. I mean, I think I've personally shared a few, and I've had a few of my friends share it with me. They're like, "Are ye dekha hai kya aapne?" मैंने बोला, "ये I already follow this guy."
Yeah.
So you're going places, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I never expect ki things might go viral or things might appreciate, because artists never, I feel कि वो ऐसा goal set करके he never designs. और कोई भी अगर concept हो, it's never like कि हाँ, if I post this on my feed, you have no idea कि it might go so much viral or how people are going to take this.
Correct.
Because in India, as everyone knows, taking such creative steps like working on social aspect can also cause negative impact also. So because it's my personal thought, if I am sharing my thought, but there are a few comments ki people might get offended on few things, but a democracy hai bhai. Everyone has their own
democracy है और पहली बात सबका अपना अपना पर्सपेक्टिव है, आप कितना रोको खुद को और दूसरे manage the manageable.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's a fun process. I always feel कि there shouldn't be always a positive thing that you should have in your life. कुछ negative ऐसे comments भी आ जाए, it booms कि हाँ, I have created a conversation led creative, right?
Correct.
So मतलब I am happy कि हाँ, there are audience जो positive and negative दोनों भी सोचते हैं. So which is the core thing, I would say. Everyone has their opinion. Everyone wants to play their own part.
Yeah.
And knowing and understanding these people helps to create such masterpieces. So I would say such creatives.
That is true. You understand both the aspects of the society. That is one. And two, you create dialogue among people. So
exactly.
Having people talk is the most important part.
Exactly.
So where do you come up with these concepts? Like, how do you get inspiration for them?
It's completely a part of observation. If you are an artist, if you are into this creative field, your observation skill should always be एकदम ऐसा 110, because that's the only thing that will help to create such unique art or whatever you are doing in creative field. I always get inspired from the things being played a vital role in this. जितना मैं travel करता हूँ, it's always fun to observe people, observe nature, observe space, and knowing people around, and that helped me to gain. जैसे ये social aspects था, I always felt कि while even I'm crossing a signal, if there's a beggar around, so uske around if we can play, if there are child laborers around, so these are the things that I normally capture. And there's a process that I always follow कि हाँ, मैं bike पे भी जा रहा हूँ, if I find an incident around me कि this can be created into visual form, I make a note around. मैं रुक के side में I'll park my bike and I'll keep a note कि हाँ, I have observed this, because घर जाते जाते I might forward, because ideas का process ही वैसे होता है. It comes within like 5 to 6 seconds. अगर उसमें if you are able to note it down, that will help. But after you spend that time, जो बीच का gap होता है, if you are not what you say,
if you
वो
don't
miss out
notice,
हो जाता है बीच.
हो गया बराबर.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have started doing something like मतलब कभी-कभी लिखने को नहीं होता ना, तो अपने phone में there's this recorder.
Yes.
So I just make a voice note as soon as possible, because भूल जाते रहे, मतलब बहुत सारी चीजें आ जाती है, घर का काम आ जाएगा, कोई बात कर लेगा बीच में, and then you forget the entire process.
Yeah, completely. This happens.
So basically, even on vacation, you're not on vacation.
Yeah, but working on digital platform and knowing things like Google करके तो सब मिल भी जाएगा. But personally, when you move outside, when you travel, knowing people and experiencing those things, वो एक step थोड़ा higher हो जाता है. Looking या फिर एक vision अलग हो जाता है when you experience those things. So yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, so you get inspiration from everywhere, like every single thing.
Everywhere, yeah.
Maybe I will also be a concept on the digital platform soon. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Completely.
Yogesh, I wanted to ask you, what is the scope of this profession? Is it something that everyone should be in?
Um, for this question has been asked quite a while earlier with me
Yeah.
wherever I have interviewed now.
Mm-hmm.
So I always find a similar answer because of my personal experience. Ki hard work can only create scope in each and every field.
Correct.
So there's no such scope that is ready, या फिर platform is ready, and you just have to be in that platform.
Hmm.
There is no shortcuts. I would say there are no shortcuts
Hmm.
to this.
Okay.
So as a scope wise, I would just say ki you just about have to work hard if you have selected this field, because it's a completely performance based field. यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा है नहीं कि you have to like a government organization कि हाँ एक particular काम करते रहो and then you get promoted
Yeah.
as per your age.
Hmm.
इसमें वैसा नहीं. It's more of if you are performing right now, as I said कि I am being a creative head
Yeah.
बहुत जल्दी हो चुका है मेरे लाइफ में. So it's just because of my work, I would say.
So, well, Yogesh, you said that hard work is the only way to get ahead in any profession. But then,
Yeah.
what were the initial struggles that you faced while making a place for yourself in the field?
Again, the it's almost like scope and just struggle hai. I would always not call. I always avoid these what the
The
terms that
Okay,
people take, struggle and again the scope.
right.
So would never call this as a struggle.
Hmm.
Would rather call this as a stepping stone or learning process.
Okay.
Making a place in this field again is a part of process. How passionate you are
Mhm.
working and keeping money aside. कि normally what I have seen recently, people normally join any agency जहाँ पे they have been paid quite a lot,
Hmm.
but they never look out कि I'm working under such brands या फिर I'm working with one particular boss who can boost my career,
Hmm.
who can help polish my skills in polishing my skills वगैरह. But they just randomly just wherever they find कि हाँ यहाँ पे of course money is important, but keeping money aside for initial 3 to 4 years will help you after 5 years when you see कि हाँ मेरा जो basics है
Hmm.
I have overcome that part.
Right.
So after 5 years you can consider कि हाँ you have to keep balance of both your folio and also the money aspect.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
I get it. I mean, yeah, honestly, it's if you like what you do, then it's a stepping stone. If you don't like what
Yeah.
you do, then it's definitely a struggle.
Completely.
I will keep that in mind. The next time I frame a question, I will change the words.
No.
I mean, even I'm
Yeah,
it's a stepping stone for me as well.
exactly. Because normally what happens, as I mentioned, scope जब नाम आता है ना कि it's always about our parents itself.
Right.
They count scope as a money growth. Right? क्या scope है ये field में? क्या surety है? There's always a question when people consult me before joining this agency. Not joining agencies, but taking this as a career. I always tell them कि money will come, but you have to be patient enough. So
Yeah.
scope का वैसा है and struggle का again I find that as a won't call it as a negative word, but it gives that sympathy somehow कि हाँ मैंने struggle किया life में. That's the thing.
Right.
सबका struggle होता है. If you have selected a field, there are struggles कि हाँ छोटा हो बड़ा हो.
Correct.
Struggle हर एक का there is a way that you take this word as per. But I never say कि मैंने struggle किया. I would rather say कि मैंने hard work करके ये कमा है. So people normally, young people कि मैंने initially struggle किया. I have struggled for 2 years.
Yeah.
Struggle it's a part of process. So never take that word so seriously. Rather you should say कि I have worked so hard to be here.
If you're planning to do something different, then you have to work hard and you have to make a niche.
Exactly.
Which is going to be a struggle of sorts, but then you chose it.
Yeah, you have chosen it, so you shouldn't call that as a struggle. You should take that positively and just look forward what you want to achieve ultimately.
Okay, I will keep this in mind for myself. I'm taking this away from
More of a speech kind of thing.
me. Yeah. It was an inspirational speech for me.
Inspirational. Yeah.
So I'm taking this away. I'm not going to use the word struggle. It's a stepping stone. So, Yogesh, how important is it to study the psychology of the consumer in graphic designing, and what do you do to stay relevant?
It's always important to know what customer wants in market, and based on that, we have to restrict our creativity somehow, because design helps to attract, but that would satisfy his requirement, right? There are people. If I am a designer, I feel that design wise this will play a part, but nahi, customer might come up with ki, is it a quantity, is it a quality that he would like to prefer, because that's the first thing. He might get attracted to one particular product. If I'm going in one particular mall, packaging will definitely attract me, but if the product is bad, he will review product as per the quality.
Correct.
So we have to keep that balance, knowing what our customer, what our client wants. So that restrictions over the design should also be a positive thing, जो हमें लेना भी चाहिए कि हाँ positively you have to accept one particular thing कि design wise नहीं सब चलेगा. It's always customer and design. You have to keep that 50-50 balance. Knowing the design. Yeah.
Okay. So is it, I mean, for example, if I come and I'm a very difficult client, so how would you handle me?
There is always a process that I normally follow. First, I'll take a brief. What is your requirement? What is your target audience?
Right.
On that basis, creativity wise, I'll give the first draft as a creative solution. Yeah, आपका packaging ऐसा है, and there are other products in market. इससे how design wise I'll play this part.
Correct.
And if he gives inputs on those design कि नहीं मुझे मेरा logo बड़ा चाहिए, which is always a thing that each and every brand wants their logo first. तो logo बड़ा चाहिए या फिर मेरा product highlight होना चाहिए. So I'll give creative solution as per his requirement. Then the second round will be कि हाँ मैंने ये चीजें बड़ा किया है as per his requirement, but design will remain the same around it. उसका look and feel will be remain the same. So that's what I said. You have to keep that 50-50 approach. If a designer goes with 100% या फिर 80% approach कि नहीं मेरा design है and I have to crack यही crack होगा, then and without taking any feedback, so that will be a what I would say कि feedback लेने का जो आदत है वो that will somehow affect your own work, because फिर approval नहीं होगा and you have to work harder. And you have to spend much more time rather than argument. You should rather than give what he wants, because he is going to add his money in the market. हम नहीं करेंगे. So वो उसके हिसाब से he'll ask us to design.
Okay.
So that's the thing. You have to know psychologically कि क्या requirement है first.
Quite interesting. And I like your approach, because what happens is since you have a design framework in mind already, so maximum the things that the client can do is change a few things here and there, but then the base is the same. So then it is not as difficult to make those changes.
Right.
Interesting. Yes. So what do you do to keep up with the everyday changing trends? There's a new trend coming up every day.
Yeah. I find it as for younger crowd, it's harming the creativity. But for the experienced one, it's much more easier. They should definitely follow the trend. Social media is growing rapidly, and because of that, we are able to refer designers, great artists around the globe. Following trends is important, but first you should focus on your soft skills. कि मेरा Photoshop, Illustrator या फिर design skills, whatever it is, that should be polished first. And then you can move as per the trend. Because of social media, people are like more attracted towards gaining followers, gaining more reach. but they are missing out the basic core thing, which is your soft skills. If that is polished, definitely you should go with the trending format, जो कुछ भी है. You should definitely follow the trend.
अच्छा.
But as I said, कि first अपना जो base है, that should be ready enough. Because trends are going to change. Trends are going to, मतलब ये क्या बोलते हैं कि
it's going to fizzle out.
Yeah. Exactly. So you have to keep that backup ready. कि हाँ, ये trending format, if it's going to end, I have this backup ready on my end.
Right. It's very important, right? Because what happens is, as you said, certain things are relevant at this moment.
Yes.
But 10 years from now, if I look back at this, it might not make sense.
Yes.
So it is better to have your base clear and create evergreen content. I mean, and go with the trend sometimes, but not rely on the trend completely.
Yeah. Trend will give you followers, trend will give you reach, but that won't help you to create the uniqueness, that base around you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is turning into an inspirational speech, I'm telling you. Okay. So what aspects do you keep in mind while creating a harmonious design?
It's a part of design. There's no such mindset that I normally keep, because if it's a freelance stuff, I have that much more freedom to give one particular idea, one particular direction. But as I am working with one particular agency, and if I am working with brands, they have their visual aspects, or I would say brand guidelines in place. So they never shift their brand guidelines as well. But usme, if I have to give some creative solutions, so there's always a scope that you can pitch in. कि हाँ, if there's a strong idea कि ये execution ऐसा हो सकता है, तो definitely you should pitch in, and you should be able to crack client as per that. कि you have to convince him कि this is going to create a buzz if we do this. So वो confidence लेना भी is a task again. कि हाँ, if you find, you have to go with stats also. कि हाँ, क्यों ये work करेगा? What is going to boom? What is going to stand out? So you have to keep each and every stats ready while you present also.
Okay.
So these are the only aspects that we have to carry when we pitch in.
My God. So it's not just design, it's knowledge about everything that is going on around.
Exactly.
Psychology of the client, statistics, what is trending, what is not trending, what is relevant. Oh my God.
Everything.
So now it's like a part of your subconscious, since you've been doing it for so long?
Yeah. While designing, even on my personal level, I keep one thing in mind. Ki there was one typographical thing that I started, ki knowing human behavior. And it's always like ki Instagram mein, if you are creating relatable content, कि अगर मैं कुछ बना रहा हूँ and Amrita is feeling the same thing,
right.
हाँ ये तो मैं भी, even I feel the same. Basic things कि I created few humorous posts that spread so drastically and went so viral, and I didn't expect कि वो होगा. As I said, कि creating such content on which are relatable, it will always create a buzz around in design, and you never know which will create a boom. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's just trial and error. You keep on doing things and
see
which works, which doesn't work, and then keep that in mind.
Exactly.
Oh, this is working.
Exactly. Sometimes I feel कि if I'm creating this post, I have worked so hard trying new styles वगैरह, but I feel कि हाँ इसमें इतना reach वगैरह होगा, but you never know. That post sometimes is like कि it gains very few reach. And also उसके likes वगैरह also उसके ऊपर भी है count कि हाँ कितना ये लोगों को समझा है. Then I take the brief on my end कि नहीं, we should always consider if we are posting anything, it should be relatable. And basic audience who is not an artist, they should also know कि क्या ये बनाया है. It shouldn't be that's abstract. Because abstract सिर्फ artist को ही समझेगा. That's the thing.
That is true. That is so absolutely true. Because I used to write for a firm actually. तो मेरा भी यही problem था कि English use करती थी ना मैं ज़्यादा. So I used to use big words while writing. And then the client said, बेटा अमृता ये नॉर्मल जनता को समझ नहीं आने वाली है.
Right.
क्यों नहीं पढ़ेंगे वो लोग डिक्शनरी में से शब्दकोश ढूंढेंगे, शब्द का अर्थ निकालेंगे. He said, no, nobody does that. Nobody does that. You will have to write in a way they understand. And
completely.
That was a learning curve for me.
Seriously. It changes as far you gain the experience in each and every field. So experience के बाद you know कि where you have to stop. That's the core thing, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. You should have, even there you have to find a balance between what works and what you want to work, like what you want to put out there, rather than just dancing with the trends, as you said. It doesn't work in the long run.
Yes, exactly.
So do you ever suffer from a creative block, and what do you do then?
Yeah. Creative blockers, not quite often, but in this lockdown I have suffered a lot. There's a huge gap while you work in office and you work virtually. In person, it's easy to understand people ki हाँ ये idea है. When you work with copywriters, when you work with strategy people, it's much more easier to meet in person and understand what they want to get us to design. Ideas are easily executed. Even thought process match bhi hota hai when you meet personally. But because of lockdown, there's a huge gap because we are not so used. Designers are not so used to talk virtually first. बात उतना नहीं करते. वो blockers आता है just because they are not able to express what they want to design.
Correct.
So even I faced the same thing. कि there was few pitches that I feel कि मुझे एक simple चीज crack नहीं हो रहा है. कि I've tried a lot, but जो होता है ना कि simple भी चीज you get stuck. So that has often happened in this lockdown, but normally इतना होता नहीं है. But because of the other pressure, like you have to manage your team, you have to be a part of the ideation process. Again घर का अलग से चीजें होता है ये वो करना बीच में because you are working from home.
Right.
So एक creative blocker आ जाता है. And the only way you can overcome this is कि regular office work छोड़ के you have to try your own skills जो तेरा core होगा.
Right.
I started my own thing where I feel कि there's no brief. I have a full-fledged freedom. So I started doing that. कि हाँ, again started doing on my own skills. कि regularly I started uploading on Instagram. So that's how I overcome these things.
Interesting. And I understand, when there's a team in front of you, what happens is the work gets divided, and someone, if you have an abstract idea and you tell this person or you draw it on paper, that person might pitch in with something new, and then that keeps on flowing because it's always free flowing. But then when you're sitting at home alone and then absolutely no company, it's very annoying.
Exactly. Also, if you are sitting with creative people around, office mein jaise you sit with designers around, so there is a huge the sharing part. कि हाँ मैं ये कर रहा हूँ. The conversation helps.
Correct.
कि whenever I feel a blocker, there's someone to help कि नहीं तू ये try कर.
Correct.
But virtually it's really very difficult. कि calling someone and asking him कि यार I am facing a creative blocker, he might not understand कि कहाँ पे blocker है.
बात सही है. Agreed. Completely agreed with this point.
Yeah.
So Yogesh, do you have any message for anyone who wants to take up graphic design as their co-field?
Yeah. I think it's a combination of feeling inspired and the ability to execute the ideas based on the inspiration that you get around.
Right.
An awesome concept in mind will just be useless without the proper skill, displaying and style. And although the field looks fun and interesting from outside, but अंदर जो है, it's a completely different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
So there are many people I have seen ki they just join graphic designing या फिर the creative field because they felt because it's an interesting thing. Also, there's a huge scope, creativity है क्या design ही करना है. They take things very lightly. But after getting into this field, like I have seen my juniors also कि they have been in engineering, doctors है कुछ जिनको लगा ये field interesting है and they have joined without their will. Just they found कि interesting है कुछ. So that's not the thing. You should come up with the proper skill of design, or randomly you should not pick graphic designing basically.
Correct.
So that's the only core part.
Yeah, because
you have to stand out. Yeah.
No, one of the guests on the podcast has said this that the grass is greener on the other side because somebody nurtured.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the same thing.
Exactly. It's greener on the other side because somebody is nurturing it, not because, it was already green. So
right.
That's what I remembered when you said this. Yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
Right. No, that's the only thing. I was coming to the same point. Because the growth is only possible if you stand out.
Right.
And are unique. If you're following what one particular designer is doing, मैं उसको follow कर रहा हूँ and I'm doing the same thing, then you won't stand out. You have to build your own space. You have to build your own kingdom, I would say.
Yeah.
So that will definitely help you to gain growth and from being a designer to a creative head, वो पूरा process में you will stand out.
Okay. I hope people keep this in mind. Anybody who's listening and wants to be a graphic designer, I hope you take this away and don't feel that, it's a fun field. The inside part is quite awful.
Quite
awful.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone. It's not a struggle.
It's a stepping stone. Yeah.
It's a stepping stone. So Yogesh, coming to the last question of the podcast, I asked this to everybody because everybody asked this to us. Beta, when are you getting settled? I mean, what is your definition?
I found this the best question till date. What does being settled means?
Yeah.
For me, the answer, I guess, we never get settled. That's the thing. Whether it's money, whether it's performance, whether it's competition, whether it's becoming unique.
Yeah.
I would say never settle down if you want to learn something new. If you find कि learning में भी एक process होता है कि if I feel कि I'm a teacher and I know everything, that will somehow create a blocker. जैसे पहले question था, that will definitely create a blocker in your growth, your thought process, and you feel कि and now I'm settled, I know everything. That's the worst part, and there's no fun involved in further life, I would say. कि पहले फिर आगे कोई task ही नहीं रह जाएगा if you're getting settled around.
Yes.
So the only time you get settled is after your death. आदमी एक बार जाने के बाद वो final वहाँ पे settle
Option नहीं है.
Option नहीं है.
Option नहीं.
Yeah, that's
हो जाओ settled, तो be settled. So if anybody is looking for an answer, you can always use this.
Yes. You only get settled down when you are dead. That's the final line.
That is true, yeah. Because as you said, life keeps on changing. Everything keeps on changing. Even if you plan 10 days ahead, there is something bound to happen in between and you're bound to change things, your perspective.
Yeah.
And
you never know.
Learning is important.
Learning is important.
If you stop learning, then you will never grow. You will be where you are. You will be settled. Yes, you will
exactly.
You don't learn. So that is the learning from this. So thank you, Yogesh. Thank you for sharing your journey and thank you for sharing about graphic design and opening my mind as well.
So much. Thank you so much, Amrita. It was pleasure, and I guess there have been many more interviews and feature that I have to. Jisme it used to just get featured on digital platforms, but this is my first podcast, I would say.
Yes.
So thank you so much for this first opportunity.
I would like to thank you that you agreed to do this. So it's mutual.
Anytime, yeah.
But it's fun, it's fun to have a conversation because when it's a digital thing, I love digital also. I like reading. But then, when you talk to a person, you understand the flavor and the thought process and, what all. So I did not expect that, whatever answers you gave, this would be the answer. The answers were completely different from my expectations because your thought process is so different. And that's the beauty of, talking on the podcast, which I absolutely enjoy.
That's the fun part. Even explaining things is quite easier, I would say.
Yes.
And I've always found that most of the people like to hear rather than just read.
Yes.
So Sunna is much more easier also while you travel, while you go through than the reading.
Yes.
But yeah, it was fun, Amrita. Thank you so much.
It was fun for me too. So Yogesh, I'll do one thing. I'll add all the links in the description so that people, if they want to read about you, they can read about you. And if they want to follow you on Instagram, they can do so. You're just on Instagram, right? Do you have a website of sorts?
I have my digital, I would say, online portfolio. I'll give you that link also. I'll just share that link.
Done.
Yes,
so I will be adding all the links in the description. If you want to go and see his work, do so. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Amrita. Thank you so much.
Hi, if you can hear this, that means you have reached the end of the episode. So like, share, subscribe, follow, stay tuned to Unsettling. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can always reach out to me on my Instagram page, Amrita Sukumar _unsettling, or send me an email on podcast.unsettling.as@gmail.com. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.